So we're going to take a look at perimeter. And before we start, let's just think of any action movie that we've watched. What happens when the team leader shouts, "Secure the perimeter! Secure the perimeter!" What do you see happen?
Secure the perimeter! Secure the perimeter!
Perimeter secured. All the soldiers go around the entire shape. So when you hear perimeter, you're adding everything around your entire shape. So example one, the city of Phoenix is building a new outdoor basketball training court shaped like a quadrilateral. And a quadrilateral just means a shape with four sides, quad. On the park's coordinate map, the corners of the court are located at blah, blah, blah. The construction company needs to install fencing all around the court. So what does that mean? I need to go around the entire court, which sounds like perimeter. What is the perimeter of the basketball court? All right, so let's go ahead and start off by graphing or plotting these points. 1, 1 is point A. 5, 3 is point B. 3, 7 is point C. And negative 1, 5 is point D. And I was waiting to graph them before I labeled them. So it went like this. Okay, so this is the quadrilateral when I join these 4 points. I'm going to go to quadrilateral. It looks like a square to me. All right, so now we're going to find this distance. And this is the most important thing that you need to know. 4 points means 4 distance formulas. So I want to see 4 distance formulas into the calculator because I'm going to find the distance between AB, DC, CB, and BA. So all around the shape. So remember, anytime you're starting a problem for the first time, I do want you to make sure what the distance formula is because right now, yes, you know it, but sometimes you can make a small mistake. So we know that it is the square root, and as a shortcut, we can type SQRT. If you do that fast enough, it'll be faster than you coming in here to do square root. So we know we have parentheses, shift 6 squared plus parentheses, shift 6 squared, and then we know that we have a minus sign inside of our parentheses. Now, before I even do this problem again, for the first time, what you want to do is look at that formula to make sure that it matches so that you don't end up making a silly mistake like putting pluses in here or minuses in here. So please always make sure. So yes, I have a square root, parentheses squared with a minus inside, plus parentheses squared with a minus inside. Perfect. Once you have it for the first time you're taking something, then you know it, that's fine, but please double check it. All right, so we've talked about organization, so we are going to actually do that. I'm going to copy this, and we've talked about Control C, or you can do settings and then hit copy. And the reason I want to copy that there is because I want to come here and I want to put in my table. We talked about organization, right? So this is where my X's are going to go so I don't make mistakes here. I need 4 sides, right? So I need 4 of these. So I'm going to go ahead and put all 4 of them. So copy it 4 times. That's my 4. Done. And then I'm just going to keep changing this to match my X's. So I'm trying to find the distance between A, B, B, C, C, D, D, A, or I can go the other way, A, D, D, C, C, B, like that. I also want to put it in decimals because what if I don't give you a picture, right? So you got to be able to go from this word problem to the answer without visually seeing. So I'm going to put in the points right here. You can see point A, and I can just type A equals, and I can say 1, 1, and you'll see that it has a label. And if I click label, it gives you 1, 1. But if I wanted to say A, I can just type in A. That way I know that that is A. So basically, I'm making this picture appear on decimals because I'm no longer going to be giving you a grid. I'm just going to be giving you the word problem. All right, so point B. So I'm going to say point B equals, and it doesn't have to be capital, so it can be little case. B is equal to 5, 3. So parentheses, 5, 3. C is equal to parentheses 3, 7. D is equal to parentheses negative 1, 5. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit labels because you can see that is not labeled for you. So I'm going to come hit label. If I don't want the coordinate label, which I could if I want to, I can say B. All right, so you choose what your label is. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have the coordinates labeled like this so that I can see what goes with what. Now, if I wanted it to join it into a square, like the way it is in this picture that we just drew, all you have to type is all lowercase polygon, because this is called a polygon. And then you'll see that it says polygon is a function. Try using parentheses because it's asking a polygon of what, and you have to tell it what you want. I want A, and if I use capitals, I have to use capitals. So A, comma, B, and you can see it started to join A, B, comma, C, comma, D, and now it's joined you a square. And here I can zoom in a little bit more to kind of see this a little bit better if I wanted to. So kind of just up to you. If you're given a word problem, you can make it a picture problem. That way you don't get confused. All right, so now that I have that, right, I want to find the distances from A to B, B to C, C to D, D back to A. So let's start with these two right here. We talked about organization. So we're going to put it in here. So we have com1, 1. So this point right here. And I want to find the distance to 5, 3. So I'm just going to put it here for organization purposes so I can make sure I don't make mistakes. Now we know from the distance formula what goes in the first parentheses, what letter? X, and what goes in the second parenthesis? Y. All right, so in my first parenthesis, I only want my X's. And you can see here, this is my X's. And in the second column, these are my Y's. So my X's only is 1 and 5. My Y's is 1 and 3. Okay, so now I have an answer. Boom. That is this length right here. And I'm going to go from 5, 3 to 3, 7. So since I already have 5, 3 here, I'm just going to change this top one to 3, 7. So this one is 3, 7. And remember, the order doesn't matter which one you're calling the first one, which one you're calling the second one, as long as you keep the X's and the Y's in the same order. So I've got my 2 points there. So now my X's right here is 3, 5. So I'm going to just go put 3, 5. My Y's right here is 7, 3. So I'm going to put 7, 3. And I've got another side. So I can see that these two sides are equal. And this visually looks like a square to me, but we're not going to assume anything. So we're going to keep going. So now I'm at 3, 7. I'm going to go from 3, 7 to negative 1, 5. I already have 3, 7 here. So I'm only going to change this one, negative 1, 5. And again, repeat the process. X is in my first parentheses. So 3 and negative Y. And again, remember, if it's negative, you're putting it there because it is negative. Then we have 7 and 5 for my Y's. So 7 and 5. And we can see once again, oops, wrong place. 7 and 5. You can see once again it's the same because I'm expecting it to be a square. But I'm not going to do any assumptions. I'm going to go all the way. Then I've got negative 1, 5 back to 1, 1. So negative 1, 5 is right there. So I'm just going to change this first one to 1, 1. And again, the order of how I put this doesn't matter. It should be 1, negative 1. So 1, negative 1. And then 1, 5. And that gives us, again, the exact same thing. So I've now found all my 4 distances. And as you practice more and more, you should get really, really fast on this. So if the question was round, then I could go ahead and round each one. If that was a question just to find A, B, for example, I would be rounded. But if it's round on perimeter, please do not round before you get to the answer. In other words, what I am looking for is, if you're looking for perimeter in decimals, what I want you to do is, remember, we have to add all those sides together. So we do that plus, and I'm going to assume yours are not the same. So I'm going to copy the next one, even though mine are all the same. Plus, and then we're on the third one. And you can just arrow all the way to the right, paste again, and I'm going to do it one more time. Control C, paste all the way to the right, plus the last one. Or you could make this longer. Let's see. You could make this longer until you can see all of it. So you should have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because 4 points, 4 distance formulas. That means if I'm finding the perimeter, I need 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what I'm actually rounding. So my next line would say round. And then I would want it to round this. Control C, Control V. Comma to whatever. So if it's the nearest whole number, 0, so it'll be 18. To the nearest 10th, 1, so it'll be 17.9. To the nearest 100th, 17.89, just depending on what the question is. So I'm going to let our practice problems take care of that. But what I want us to do on our notes is do it in radical form. So 2 questions you can get. What is it rounded, or what is it in simplest form? So I'm going to do what is it in simplest form. That means for each one, I don't need the table anymore, so I can cancel that. For each one, This is now what I need to simplify. So if I need it in simplest radical form, it means I need a radical in my answer, right? To see what this is, everything underneath the radical goes here. I just delete the radical, and I can see it's 20, put it back because this is actually my distance, and put what it says right there so I can see that it matches. I'm going to press enter here. We're going to break 20 down and always check 2. Does 2 work? Yes, it does. Press enter. 10 divided by 2, does that work? Yes, it does. I would press enter again, but I know 5 is the end. So I can replace this 20 with everything underneath the fractions and my leftover here. So I should have 2 2s and a 5. And if I've done this correctly, this will still match. All right, so 2 times 2 times 5. Is it correct? Yes, it still matches. So I don't need this anymore because remember, I want to keep my 4 things here, right? All right, so now do you see any books? I do. So we have a book of 2 right here. Again, it doesn't match because I'm missing my book. But once I put my book back, you can see that it matches. So this side is, and that was my first side, is 2 radical 5. Okay, so when you're doing your questions, I do want you to also label what it is in simplified form. So 2 radical 5 for that one. And again, we're going to keep repeating this process. Now, I know mine are all the same. So for you, if yours are not the same, you're going to do it 3 times because you have 3 points. For me, I'm just going to repeat the process just to show you. So again, you come to the question, press enter. Because it is in simplified radical form, you need a radical. You're going to delete the radical to see what the number is there. Put it back and then put the number there. Break it down, and we know it's going to break down to 2 radical 5. And then once you have your answer and it matches, you can get rid of the decimal version of it because you no longer need it. So I have 2 radical 5s. And of course, I know that I'm going to repeat this process. I come right here, press enter. And I need a radical in the answer. And to see what the number is underneath, I delete the radical. It is 20. Put it back. So in this case, it's 20. Break 20 down, replace it, take out books. In my case, I know it's 2 radical 5. Then I no longer need the distance formula. I just have my 3 answers, and I need to do this one more time. So come to the next one, press enter. I know I want simplest radical form. Delete the radical to see the number. Put it back so that you can match the answers. And put that number in there, break it down, take out books, and when you do that, you're going to get 2 radical 5 because, again, they're all the same. So I have 4 of the exact same thing. So I do know that, again, to find my perimeter in simplest radical form, I'm going to add all of these up together. So it'll be this one plus, now let me assume yours is not the same, plus the next one, plus the next one. So you're just getting each one of those plus the next one. So you're going to copy that one. So you should have 4 of them when you're done. So like that. So this is now my perimeter. Notice it's the same perimeter in decimal form because it should match. So to make sure I don't get the simplification wrong, I'm going to copy this again by hitting settings and copy, so it'll copy that whole line for me. So I can work here and match these two. So anything underneath the radical that is the same, we can combine. So I have a 5, 5, 5, 5, and 5. So I can combine all of these. And the way I combine it is you can just add them like you would X's, or you can use fruits if it makes it a little bit easier. So for example, I have 2 apples plus 2 apples plus 2 apples plus 2 apples. How many total apples do I have? I have 2, 4, 6, 8. I have 8 apples, and the apples is just the radical 5. And if I combine that correctly, you'll see that it matches. So my final answer in simplest radical form is 8 radical 5. So in your answer, I do want you to write yours in both decimals and radical form for the final answer. So those are my sides. What is the perimeter of the basketball court? So I'm going to say it is 2 radical 5 plus 2 radical 5 plus 2 radical 5 plus 2 radical 5, which is equal to 8 radical 5. And you're also going to give me that in decimal form, and let's call it round to the nearest 10th. So that's going to be 17.9. If I come over here and go around, I rounded it earlier, but I'm going to do it again. And it can't be in capital letters either. So I'm going to take the caps off, round. I want you to round this number. Nearest 10th is comma 1. So 17.9. Okay, so when you're doing your question, it says there are 3 points, so I need 3 distance formulas. You're going to draw your triangle. I want you to label your triangle ABC. Yep, ABC. I want you to find the sides in radical form. Okay, so you're going to tell me what it is in radical form. You're going to show me how to find the perimeter, show me the work, and then give me the answer for the perimeter, and then give me the decimal version rounded to the nearest tenth. Let's practice.